Boom. It's almost like synchronicity. I like that. Hey, everybody. I'm Louis Porter Jr., and you're watching Transparency Agenda Daily. Uh, yeah, sorry what happened yesterday. I don't know what happened to the Facebook feed. Cut out for some reason. I don't know why, but that happens sometimes, and that's the way it happens. So, as usual, let's just jump right into it. It's going to be one of those quick, busy, crazy nights of stuff to talk about. So, boom. Starting off with all of the Kickstarters. First and foremost, up is Lord of the Gods, 4,500, 8 days left. And they say they're probably gonna make six. I think six is a possibility. 6,000. I'm saying, so that's that could happen. That could happen. That's very realistic. Still, they need more advertising. Dark Naga, 39.66. They are $34 away from reaching their goal. Yes, they will hit their goal. If I was them, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would actually stop and cancel this Kickstarter because what the people have told you nicely, that there's barely enough people interested in this, and that might be different after it comes out, but your fan base that you're building has kind of told you what they feel about it. So just a thought. You don't have to listen to me, but just a thought. Just give me a little thought to think about. What can I say? Next up, of course, Eclipse Phase, 124,000, 8 days left. Maybe 170, maybe 170,000, maybe. What's their big goal to stretch? Yeah, ambient music is 145. So yeah, they still got time. They've reached, they reached 130 yet? They're 6,000 away from 130 get the player's guide. So yeah, they're probably gonna get that. That's not gonna be a problem for them, and still gonna do very, very well with nearly 1,700 people supporting them. And last up, Adventure Kit. They have 12,000 off of their $500 original goal, so they were good golden since day one. They got 22 days to go, so yeah, they're gonna do well. I mean, they got some stuff. I want to see more stuff from them. Actually, I'm interested. I just want to see more stuff. I think they're doing the right thing. I think they presented it correctly. I think they've shown everything correctly. I think they have done, what you're supposed to do when you do a Kickstarter. So, boom. That's pretty simple. Ain't rocket science here. Of course, let me do some self promotion and some blog promotion. Of course, we got the stuff up. Oh, that's right. So yeah, so maybe y'all don't know this. They changed the setup now on YouTube for Google Hangout. It's actually apparently live and on. So it came on tonight, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not right." So it kind of shocked me. So I'm still catching up to a little stuff to do. I get enough time to really check it out as much as I would like to, but whatever. Let's get to it. Boom. All right, next up, self-promotion, of course. Legacies. I put a video up today at Legacies that people could check out. It's kind of cool. They'll find it interesting. I think if you're a fan, you'll like it. If you were going to think about checking the Kickstarter out, you're going to like it. We did something kind of cool for the guys donating $1, or back for $1, as I usually call it. So check out what we did there. And for Stonemeyer, I didn't check the blog. No new blog today. After yesterday's, a very good blog with also a blog inside of a blog that you might want to check out. But of course, as always, check out Stonemeyer Games to get good stuff on just the business and stuff like that. Because remember, this guy, he used to work a job. Now he made himself a $1.3 million Kickstarter, and now he works for himself. Just something to think about. And he's very much talking about building, building your community before you get started. Hence why we do this. We're building the community before we get started so people get excited. No, it ain't rocket science we're doing here. And okay, so the big thing we're going to talk about tonight, this is something that happened, was it last night I saw this? And I put a comment up on my personal Facebook page, and people have been commenting back and forth. And there's even been some rebuttal to this online officially from Marvel. But I'm gonna call it out. I'm just gonna call it out like it is, because I'm like, this is kind of interesting and kind of weird. People, when I first started reading comic books a long time ago, there's a threshold which is a very low threshold, and if you sold 50,000, that was kind of a bad seller for comics. But we're talking, this is early '80s, mid '80s. I'm talking about, so you can put it in perspective. And that was always the kind of threshold in my head. I knew at $100,000, Marvel and DC had an art of incentive pay. So I know, if I can still remember, it was right. For writers and artists, there was a penny for every copy you'd sell over 100,000, and Anchors, I think it was like half a cent, a quarter cent, something like that. But it was a nice incentive pay. So if I know you're like, oh, that doesn't seem like a lot of money. Well, it isn't a lot of money for selling like 100,000, 110,000. Not really that much money. But if you were doing like John Byrne, Chris Claremont, and selling $500,000, half a million copies per month, dude, that's a nice incentive check on top of your regular pay. And then you add on top of all that stuff, just the regular stuff they were doing conventions and signing stuff. So it was a nice piece of change. And it always was a good idea, which I still think is a good idea. I wish Marvel would do it, but whatever. So flash forward to this article, and it's telling you that 30 titles that Marvel's looking to cancel, and of these 30 titles, none of them have broken, or none of them have broken, or are selling at a threshold that's where they'd expect to be appropriate, which is over 20,000. 20,000 is the threshold where Marvel considers to cancel your book. Now, I sent you the link. There's a lot of books in there that some I read, some I don't read. Some I was like, I'm not surprised. Captain America Sam Wilson. I didn't think it did that well. I didn't think it was doing that well. Gwenpool. Captain Marvel. Kind of surprised to see that one. U.S. Avengers, Ultimates 2, Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, I kind of figured that was. Man-Thing. Hawkeye, which I hadn't read since they switched over. Spider-Man 2029, and it just goes on. It just keeps going on and keeps going on. Thunderbolts is on this list, and Thunderbolts is written by our friend Jim Zub. So it's like, you should go support Jim Zub. I mean, Jim's a friend. Let's get some out there. But he's on this list. He's on this list of books. And then on the fence was Ms. Marvel with just literally like 881 above the 20,000 limit. So I'm looking at this going, these numbers are kind of scary because, okay, I need my calculator for this. I'm going to do some math for this because this is going to be kind of complex for some of you. And I mean me. So let's say you sell 20,000 books, and we're selling at $3.99. So we'll give it that kind of stuff. So generally, the books generate $79,800. But you got to divide that in half because distributors get half. I mean, retailers get half that money because that's what they sell. Actually, I should have done it better. I can still do it. Plus another 10%, 0.9, goes to distributors. They get their cut too. Yeah, but you didn't think about that. So a good book selling that much only generates $35,000 with 36,000. Well, 35,910. So 36,000. That's per month. Now that's not bad, but we haven't counted printing. Printing, paying the writers, the artists, the editors, the whole deal. Let's just suppose it costs let's say 20,000. 20,000 for that. 15,910 bucks. That's what you get after you sell 20,000. That's how much money is left over in profit. I'm gonna use that word profit, but it's probably that's gobbled up too. So I'm kind of surprised the numbers are that kind of low. But at the same time, you think about when I was a kid, they're selling them, 65 cents, like that, so 100,000, 65,000. So the numbers are kind of the same, but the amounts are not good. You see, so I wonder, it's like, okay, what would be the first thing I would do if I was Marvel to get people to start reading my products and at least get a fan base? Oh, I know I'd do something really radical. Here's a crazy idea, like they do in the newspapers, or they used to do. I release daily strips at my website. See, I don't get this at all. There's tons of people doing webcomics all over. I do not understand why Marvel doesn't have its own unique webcomic series online and just say, we're going to commit to it. I don't care if this thing loses money. We're going to commit to people having it out there and having people come to our website regularly every day to see something cool new. And you maybe make it out of universe, or maybe you make it like they did the old strips in the newspapers, and make them, Peter Parker black and white stuff. But I would have that every single day on my page. If I wanted to try a new book or a new concept, I would do an 8-pager, and we'd set it up as 4-panel per page. We don't do a 6, do a 4-panel. Oh, look, Chris Onions joined. Chris Onions used to work with me at my old job. Congratulations, Chris just bought a new house. That's also something impressive. Chris just got her first new house. So give a clap up, Chris. Clap up, Chris. There you go. Very impressive. So yeah, so I would have a strip every day. We put new stuff out. I mean, it'd be like the Wednesday comics idea that DC did. I don't understand why they don't have that online. I mean, DC attempted doing some stuff. They did it with Red Circle, and the stuff they did was kind of like, it wasn't that great. I think if they took a step back and did the smart move of doing, okay, we're going to do a Paul Dini style, Batman Adventures, Batman animated series look and feel on our stuff daily, they might get a fan base they never thought of. They may get those people who are already looking at free stuff online to go, oh, look, what's going on in DC? What's a cool DC story we could tell? And for DC and Marvel, it wouldn't cost them that much. I mean, let's just be bluntly honest. You could make that your playground where you test out people to see if they're actually good workers. You go there, you say, hey, you want to work for us? You do one of our testings on our online. If you get popular, we'll put you on a regular book. I'll give you a shot and go from there. And it really doesn't cost them much. I mean, but there are people who stand in line to do that kind of stuff. You'd be like, oh, yeah, I'd love to do an 8-page here and 8-page there. And you can pay them, not great rates, between reasonable rates, but they get published. They got I got online. I did my series. My first thing I did was online at DC, and you develop an online basis. And if the stuff does well, you collect as a trade and you put it out and sell it. I don't get this. I don't get how these large corporations that are so big act like they don't have any brains in publishing. And, it's just like, why can't you guys figure this stuff out? It isn't rocket science. And then, why can't you make better characters? And maybe I'm being like, oh, Lewis, you shouldn't be like that. They're trying their best to make good characters. I think the characters suck. They haven't made a new character in years because they don't want to pay anybody. They don't give anybody their credit for it. Why would I not share money with guys who are going to be creative? To me, that is the ultimate secret sauce. You're going to do me a favor by making cool characters. You're going to make me some big old money, and I'm going to go out dancing and think I'm a genius. Yeah, Thomas, you're right. Corporations don't like taking chances. And that's why so many of them are in dire straits. Let me flash back to my favorite one, Macy's. Having worked there and see what they did, I knew Macy's was going to be in trouble back when I left in 2006. And now, 2017, they're in dire straits. They're closing up shops because they're in dire straits. They didn't plan for the future. They didn't care about the future. They care about I can only care about what's going on now. I can't worry what's going on 10 years from now. That's 10 years. I may not even be here. And that's like the short-sightedness that gets them always in the same trouble. Think ahead. Think a couple steps ahead. At least think further than your next quarter, because things will happen. But that stuff doesn't happen. These guys don't plan out. So it's always the same thing. They do this thing. There's a big burst up, and then they want to keep things like how they used to be. Marvel wants to keep people reading comic books like they used to. But people have moved past that. People are moving past that. Look, I get it why the characters are so exciting and you put a lot of money into them and you don't want to add new ones. But come on, man. You got to do something. Even at DC, I mean, God, man, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. That is their big trifecta. And if you look at them in the modern day, they sound ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And Marvel's at least a little bit better because their stuff was built in the 60s. But when you think about that, Marvel Comics was done in 63. It's now 2017. We can't get any newer characters. We can't. There was a big Silver Age that changed all the comics for the big two. The modern age came through. This new millennium is here. The Bronze Age, as they call it. I always hated that name. There's been no real innovation in the delivery of comic books and the characters we produce. Yeah, people have tried stuff. Independent people have tried stuff, and they've tried really crappy stuff. Let's call it like it is. There are a lot of Image tried a lot of cool ideas, but nothing like big like a Marvel or a DC. They started to be, let's be independent. Most people are doing these little independent shops. They do short book runs, and that's it. I think it's a cool idea, and I think that's good for a company to have. I think DC should have that. I think Marvel should have that. They don't always do that, but they should have small things that are not connected to their main stuff that they wouldn't normally be. I mean, DC doing Vertigo was a great long-term plan that paid out for them in spades. And Marvel not doing the same thing with Epic never made sense to me. I mean, Epic that could have been their line. Epic should have been their version of Vertigo. But they didn't do it. Marvel Fanfare, when it was doing that kind of high-end stuff, that was really cool. They should have kept doing that. But, hey. Sean, let's be honest. Image was pretty good back in the day. I'm talking about when it first started. I'm talking like right out the blocks. Because that's when I was in the business side and doing and it was, trust me, man, those guys, they had everything going for them, but in the best wrong way. They had the best art and no writers and a lot of creativity. And if they had hired some good editors, I'm not picking this up because I know it's not for me. Because I don't get calls on this phone. Oh yeah, this phone stinks. Yeah, that's right. This phone stinks. Gen 13 was not that great. Wildcats could have been good. It should have been good, but let's be honest. It was good because Jim Lee wrote that thing. That's all that was. That was 100% Jim Lee. If Jim Lee didn't do that book, and that had been Todd, not even Todd McFarlane, even Rob Liefeld, that book would have died on the vine. Not even surprised. But I digress. I just don't understand how these guys haven't figured out the business yet. They're in the business of selling books, and they always see and they make IPs for a living, and they don't want to give any money to people to create new IP. So we're gonna maul the old stuff for as long as we can, and then we're gonna do we got to do diversity, so we'll do female versions or black versions or Hispanic versions. Yeah, okay, no one will mind. No, it's no big deal, except for your fan base who fell in love with the characters originally what they were, and you just crapping all over them to make some money. But hey, I'm not a smart guy. I don't know all this stuff. Maybe it's too difficult for me. But I don't understand why this is a difficult thing to do. I mean, look, okay, let me give you a prime example. Got it from the library. Boom. I'm reading this book. I've read this book a million times. I bought it off the shelf as a kid. It's one of my favorite series. Yes, the art is not that great, but the story is very cool. And you get some George Perez, early George Perez, like raw George Perez, like kept America curling 500 pounds. Oh, where is it? Curling 500 pounds. Boom. This is some early Perez. It's still kind of rough, which is which is amazing to me that Perez used to work on Avengers. But I digress again. I just think that in the 21st century, we should be thinking about comic books in a totally different way. Where is it? Is it up here? Can I grab it real quick? Oh, I have to get over there. I don't want to stand up to get this thing, but I would love to. Yeah, okay, I'll get it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm doing my video. What's up? Been on the phone?
Learning.
Can I call her back? Because I'm actually in the middle of something. I'm doing my video.
Learning.
Hold on for a second. Hold on, I'm doing my show right now. What's up? Yes, that was my mother-in-law. So this book was done in 2001. Yeah, the Red Star came out in 2001. What the Red Star did was really, really interesting. That people still have not figured out to do it, which I can't get. Oh my God, I really don't understand this at all. All right, come on. Let me see if I can get a good page where you can understand. All right, well, the artwork is beautiful. It's a great book. You should pick it up. It's a great piece like that. Yes, but what made it really, really different? This is a small one. This won't be really as good as I'd like to. See, here, this ship. This isn't drawn. That's actually 3D animation. And that's drawn. That's drawn. See, the guys who did this figured something out really quick, which is brilliant. They figured out to do. This is going to be hard to see. 3D animation for stuff, for backgrounds, and like the large scaled city backgrounds. They did it all in 3D. And they just did it well in 3D. Okay, like look. See the little Jeep right there? That's 3D. That's actually not hand drawn. It's 3D. So they decided, okay, we're going to pick backgrounds, make it all 3D, and then Photoshop the rest of the stuff, do all other stuff accordingly. These guys did this in 2000. Okay? 2000, not today. Now you can find so many cheap 3D programs to do the stuff now. They did this, 17 years ago. Let's say 15. That's kind of fair. 15 years ago. and no one's done anything from it. No one said, "Oh, I think I'm going to start doing 3D in my comics and add that in." This book is so. The team who did this is so amazing. Chris Gossett, I had the pleasure of meeting him several times. I think I've talked about Chris before on the show. I know I have. Chris, what makes him awesome in this? Chris used to be a production designer for LucasArts, and I've talked about him so many times because his biggest claim to fame is, watch this, fun people. He was the guy who created the double-edged lightsaber that Darth Maul uses. So that was his creation. I want you to think about that for a second. That guy created that. That guy also is a big gamer. He's a big D&D gamer. So much so that his team that did this book did their own book for 3.5 called Persona. I can't remember. Persona something. I got it as a PDF, and I had the original here somewhere. I don't even know where it anymore. This over here. That's Night and Fall. Oh, I forgot to talk about this too. So yeah, I mean, this thing was a beautiful NPC book, and you guys should just pick it up. I mean, if you can find one, this thing was under Archangel Press. I'll go look through, and I'll put a link in it if I can, and talk about it. Yeah, it was just amazing. Oh, and go back, Flash. This came today in the mail for me. Yeah, Deadlands 20th anniversary, 20th annual edition. Oh, this way. Oh. Awesome. I literally opened it up. I saw, okay, what I got in here? Okay, I got this. Ooh. Okay, I got this, and I got this poster, and I got this awesome full color hardcover book that is $60, which I did not pay $60 when I supported it, and it looks awesome. And if you did not know, Deadlands is one of my favorite settings. I like westerns. I think they do westerns and horror perfect. I've always wanted to do a horror western thing, but they got me to it. So I'm kind of like, but I'd love to write for it one day. But I digress. Let's go back to what we were talking about. I think there needs to be some kind of natural progress of this stuff to this future. And we need to think about it for ourselves as creative people, to what we can do to make ourselves that awesome. PDF publishing has done wonders for RPGs, but I think there's more we could be doing. There's more we could be pushing the envelope. There's more things that we should be doing as a collective and thinking, you know, I'll say it again, think more like video games. Video games have got it down to a science, you know. They have got multiplayer, they've got play online, they got play with your friends. I mean, it's organized play, but for video games. And we as smart game publishers need to develop our own organized play. That's why I'm doing mine, and I'm trying to develop in a way that we can just bring on other guys for third party. So this is something we can just do. How about incorporating 3D into fantasy? I don't know if it would break the immersion. I think if it's done well, I don't think people will care. I think more people are used to seeing. Oh, Sean just wrote this. Sorry if you didn't know. I think most people are used to seeing a World of Warcraft, and that hasn't broken anyone from playing that game. Or Guild Wars. You know, you don't see people going, "Oh, the art in the back, it's too computerized. I can't deal with it." Please. I wish I had those numbers. I mean, come on, man. Even on a bad day, I'd love some of those wild numbers. Shoot, I'd be living like a king. It'd be awesome. So that's something you got to think about. You know, just, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, we've got to change our future. What we're doing right now is the same thing we've been doing since the 80s. And I keep saying it over and over. We got to change the future. It's got to change the future. But people don't want to hear me. People are like, "Oh, Lewis, you sound like a broken record. You keep saying, oh, you got to change it. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" You know, I just, actually the arts would turn me off. But now, yeah. I mean, hey, Sean, the art may not be perfect for you, but, you know, there's a lot of people who like it. So sometimes you got to go with things you don't want to agree with, but, you know, it's good for business. See? Good for business. And what's best for business for us is like getting more people into this whole tabletop thing. And we got to find different ways to do it. And we can't just do it off the backs of Pathfinder. You know, I can't, you know, as much as I want to make Neo-Exodus Legacy is great, I know I have to do something different than what society's doing. We have to make it so different that people who play it will be like, "Oh, I like this part of society, but this is much cooler doing this cool stuff over here." You know, it's and the stuff I'm doing is stuff I stole from the guys at Paradigm Concepts, and they did that 10 years ago. So we still got to keep pushing ourselves. So, you know, it's a hard place to be in, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I think that there's so much potential here, and there's so much creativity that we can do cool things. I think that now's the time that we should just focus on being awesome. Focus on being awesome. That's it. Focus on being awesome. Once you do that, you're good to go. All right, I'm getting out of here. I got stuff to do. As you see, I'm busy. I still got to cook. I got to make Lucas's lunch, get himself ready, and get myself ready for bed. And I still got to do layout work. Oh, that's crazy. So that's it. I'm getting out of here. Oh, I guess I got to read my book. I got this. Oh, isn't it adorable? It's so adorable. I cannot wait. It's heavy. It's got a good heft to it. I don't know what the page count is. Oh, then I got, yeah, boom, character folio. And then, oh, yeah, oh, boom, bookmarks. Yeah, I am very happy with this Kickstarter. Yeah, this is nice. And of course, who'd have thought one picture would cause 20 years of cool ideas? One picture. Who said that? Oh, that was me. All right. I'm getting out of here. You all have a good night, and I will talk to you all later. Oh, yeah. And as always, go tell your mother and your father that you love them. Go tell your children that you love them. They're awesome, and they're your favorite thing in the world because, you know, everybody needs a little encouragement all the time, including your children and yourself. I'm just saying. Tell someone you love they're great. They'll appreciate it. Trust me, I know. Talk to y'all later.